Hey everybody, I'm Daniel, you're watching Play the Game HQ, and we are back talking a little more about Everbloom. This is from Nerdvana Games, who helped sponsor this video, and it is on Kickstarter now. Now we have a full preview of this game where we go through the rules a little more in depth and go through kind of the full overview of the game, but I wanted to take some time to go in a little more in depth into some of the different elements of the game, some of the nuance and the strategy of the game, and just some of the different decisions that you'll be making and the impact of those decisions across the game. So in this video, we're going to talk about the wilderness and migration phase, which is the bidding part of the game, the area control part of the game, where you're going to be bidding on cards and either winning or losing those cards to bring those cards into your biomes or to send pollinators to the groves. Now, something that might be a little bit different than your typical area control experience is you have to lose certain cards. Like you have to lose cards or else you're not going to get pollinators. Essentially, as you win cards, you're going to bring those into your grove, but they're unpollinated. So if you look at a card, this is the unpollinated side, this is the pollinated side. This side has nectar on it, and you have to have nectar in order to score anything in your biomes at the end of the game. So if you only win cards, but you don't gain pollinators to pollinate your cards, you're going to have a lot of cards that are completely worthless at the end of the game. Now, there are different ways to score throughout the game, and we'll talk about some of those a little bit in this video and in another video on your tableau, your biome, and how all of those cards work and score on their own. But in this video, I wanted to focus again on just some of the nuance in the actual bidding and area control part of the game. So during the wilderness phase, you're going to be placing tokens on any of these landmarks to then place pollinators on adjacent cards. So on this one, red bid a 4, so they can place 4 pollinators on any cards that are connected by arrows, which is these two or these two. And unless there's a rule that says otherwise on one of those landmarks, you can spread them across, like you can distribute them however you want. Once you've placed your cards and once everyone has gone and placed all of their tokens, you're going to resolve those. Whoever wins the card is going to get the card into their biome. Whoever loses is going to send their pollinators over to the groves, and they're going to send them to the grove that matches the grove on the card or the biome on the card. So over here, blue is going to win this one because they have 3 pollinators here. This big one is worth 3. So they're going to gain this card. And then their pollinators are going to go back into their supply, but red and green are going to send both of those pollinators over to the blue water grove and will then have those pollinators available to pollinate cards in their grove during the pollination phase at the end of the round. So as you're picking the cards you want, because you only, during the pollination phase, you only take from one of these groves each round, you're not going to be able to take all of your pollinators if they're spread across all of those groves. So if during the bidding, you're just bidding on a lot of different cards, if you lose all of those cards and you end up sending 2 of your 10 pollinators to each of the different 5 biomes, you're going to only have 2 of those available per round. That's not going to be effective when you get ready to start pollinating those cards. So as you bid on cards, even the ones you intend to lose, you need to be strategically thinking about where you're going to lose. So you don't want to lose a few of each biome. You want to lose on a lot of the same biome. So you may want to lose here and here so that you can send all of your pollinators to the water biome and have all of those available. Now the cards also have bonuses. Some of those are bonuses for the winner and some of those are shared bonuses that anyone who meets the conditions gets. If you see 1 paw, that only goes to the winner of that card. But if you see 2 paws, that's a community bonus. So anyone that meets the requirements for that card is going to get that bonus. So over here, this is a community bonus. Anyone that has 2 pollinators is going to send a pollinator to the yellow grove, and that comes from their supply. That doesn't come from these pollinators, it comes from their supply. So both blue and yellow will get to send a pollinator over to the yellow grove when this card is resolved. So there are some different ways that you can get pollinators beyond just losing cards, but none of those are going to give you the number of pollinators that you get from losing cards. So again, being strategic in where you bid, and maybe if there's cards out that give you pollinators on like the water biome, if you're planning on losing these 2 and there is a card that lets you get pollinators from one of those actions on a water biome, you may want to try and win that one so that comes over here, but you also get pollinators in the water biome. Again, strategically getting your pollinators to the correct groves is really, really, really important when it comes to pollination, because there's a good chance in this game, if you're not intentional in how you bid and where you bid, that you may have a lot of cards but no resources to actually activate those cards with and score those cards with. Now, there are different types of bonuses on these cards, and I want to go through those just a little bit. You have nectar bonuses. That's just going to give you a nectar card. Those are cards that score additional nectar on their matching biome at the end of the game. These let you move up on the bloom track. The bloom track will score you points as you pass different spots on it at the end of the game. The bloom track will give you nectar cards, and there are some scoring tokens in your biomes that are going to give you points based on where you are on the bloom track. We also have cards that, just like this one, just automatically flips over and self-pollinates when it gets placed into your biome. On this one, anyone who has 2 pollinators on it is going to score 1 point, just 1 outright victory point. Anyone who has 2 pollinators is going to move up 1 space on the bloom track. We have another nectar card. There's so many different types of bonuses, and all of them are strategic in their own different way. But again, this one really requires you to strategically win and strategically lose cards. Otherwise, if you don't balance that, if you don't do a good job of that tightrope walk, you're going to end up lopsided, either having a lot of pollinators and no cards to pollinate, or a lot of cards and no pollinators to pollinate them. And in addition to just that balance, there's also a balance of which cards you win. It may make sense that you're going to win a card for every biome. You're going to fill out as much of that as you can, because if you don't have a card on a biome, it is worth -5 points at the end of the game. But the end game scoring is tiered based on who wins and who comes in second and who comes in third. So if you win one of these biomes at the end of the game, you're going to win 1 point per nectar in that biome. Second place, you're going to win half a point. And third place, you're going to win a third of a point. You're going to win 1 point for every 3 nectar, and that's rounded down. So if you get a couple of cards, or maybe 1 card or a couple of weak cards in each of these biomes, and you end up coming in third place with 2 points in each biome, or 2 nectar in each biome, that's 1 point for every 3 nectar. If you only have 2, that's 0 points. So you could potentially have 1 card in every biome and still score 0 points for your biome. So it really is, again, it's a balancing act of not just winning cards, but winning the right cards, and then losing the right cards to support the strategy you're on, and also paying attention to all the little bonuses that you have available to you. Now, in another video, we're going to go into these scoring tokens and how those work. So we'll talk about that in another video. And then we'll also make a video on the bloom track, on the groves, and just kind of fringe strategic elements of the game. So if you have any questions about this, please leave a comment below. We'll answer that as quick as we can. If we don't know the answer, we'll send it along to the publisher or the designer so they can come and answer that question for you. We'll also leave a link to the Kickstarter below so you can check this game out for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.